All right, looks like I'm live, guys. How's it going? I just thought I'd come on here for a little late night stream tonight. It's I don't know, about 11 o'clock my time, so I'm not going to stay on here forever. But I figured why not? Right now, and thought I'd go over a few of the things I've seen and whatnot. Let's see in the comments here. We got Warsaw Patriot, Mateo 1371. So a couple of the usuals, basically. Oh, my screen's like freaking out here. Is it doing it for you guys too? I'm not quite sure what's going on here. My screen's just kind of freezing. I don't know if that's on my end or if it's broadcasting that way too. Let's see what I can do if it's... Okay, hopefully it comes back too here. It just keeps showing like a bunch of pixels all over my screen, and I have no idea why. Anyways, hopefully it's coming through better for you guys than it is me. Because I might have to restart and try it again or something. All right, anyways, I just figured I'd get out of here on here and, you know, just kind of talk about, I don't know, just kind of back to the basics on a lot of this stuff. In case you guys haven't noticed, a lot of these guns nowadays, like the AK for now, it's turned into like the new thing. And tons of people are getting into it, which is great. I love that part of it. But with that comes like the whole mainstream thing where everyone's just got to talk about it. And that's good too. Don't get me wrong. But it seems like people are almost starting to reinvent the wheel a little bit. And instead of just like talking about the gun itself and its history and all the things like that, the people are like really getting into like all these little nuances, and they want to like fret about things, and they want to, I don't know. You guys know what I'm saying, right? And it almost seems like on another areas, they want to kind of turn the AK into the AR. Now, look, when I say that, I don't mean like to put an M4 extension on the back and use your AR stock. That's fine if that's what you like. What I mean is people are kind of wanting to like standardize parts. They're worried if there's any like little machining surface that's like just a little bit flawed. People are all concerned with it. And they're trying to overcomplicate all the little things, you know, like how easy these guns are to maintain, how easy they are to lubricate, how it's just such a durable platform because it's not as precise in many areas as an AR. So I don't know. It's just kind of like, I don't really want to say it's bothering me. It's just more like something that I think what I'm going to be doing here going forward is putting some videos out from time to time, just kind of trying to clear up some of these misconceptions that are starting. And I did a video early today and threw it up there. You guys have probably seen it. If not, check it out, where I just did like how to lubricate an AK. Basically how to take it apart, put it back together. I know for my normal listening people, that's kind of like below you and probably boring. I totally get that. But man, some of these videos I've seen out there, these people make this like so complicated. Like lubing an AK ends up being like this huge video, and it's like there's all these different theories out there, and I don't know. I'm just gonna start doing some videos that are kind of like, you know, back to the basics of things, where look, just a few drops of oil here and there. You can use your favorite gun lube if you want. That's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. But at the same time, you don't need that either. You can just use some motor oil, sewing machine oil, pretty much about anything except for, I'm going to say no to WD-40. That's pretty bad idea. The only thing I ever would use WD-40 on a firearm is if I got it soaking wet I want to displace moisture out of some of the little areas that are hard to get a towel to. It is good at water displacement, you know, hence the WD, right? But the WD as a firearms lube is just terrible. I've seen so many guns that were put away with WD for years. Someone, you know, pulls it back out, and that stuff just kind of like, I don't know, it's weird. It like gums up, and then if you leave it in there even longer, WD will turn into like a shellac. And it'll actually kind of like, you know, seize the parts together and almost form like a glue in there. And so I'm going to say no to WD-40. And here's the other thing too. There's some real popular YouTubers out there that emphasize you have to use grease on your rifle. And there's like some, even some pretty prominent builders, guys, that are like way out of my league per se, that say to use grease. And I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of using grease to lubricate the AK. I kind of went over that in my video I put out today, and this is just from experience. Now, grease is a good lubricant, don't get me wrong. It sticks where it's supposed to stick, and maybe in certain instances it might be okay. But from what I've noticed is the AKs, you know, the ammo that we usually shoot, not necessarily the weapon itself, but the ammo we usually shoot, the cheap stuff, the Russian, the surplus stuff like that, it's kind of dirty ammo, guys. The gunpowder has a lot of residue. Usually the cases have some kind of sealant on them to protect from corrosion, right? Like maybe a polymer, like Wolf has their polyformance, right? That's like a polymer that's sprayed on the case with the tight tolerances of your chamber. When you go to extract, a little bit of that goes flying out with it, and then it hits the ejector, and there's little teeny flecks of like your polymer. Lacquer, maybe not as bad, but lacquer will still kind of chip off too, because it's, you know, like a hard substance. Even the primers, you know, like say your Golden Tiger, you know, that's got that sealant around the primer, right? Even little bits of that I've seen get into the action of my AK. It gets in the rails, and if you've got grease, it just seems to suck all that stuff up. And before you know it, it's like you're basically like this gritty mess, and you're just kind of, it's no good, right? So I'm gonna kind of go against what some of these real popular people are saying about grease in your AK. Just don't think it's a good idea. As you saw in my video earlier, you could take the whole bolt and carrier assembly and literally just dunk it right into a jug of oil. Probably not going to hurt anything. But again, it's just going to make a mess on you or your car or whatever you're transporting it in. And if anything, it could be bad too, because it's going to attract more of that debris and dirt and whatnot. So yeah, guys, just a little bit of oil, any oil. You know, I had a guy here. Well, it was Mateo actually, Mateo 1371. He left a comment. He likes to mix some oil together with some transmission fluid. My CLP, I call it, when I'm doing cleaning and, you know, want a little bit of lube there. I do that too. I use a formula that includes transmission fluid. And transmission fluid's a good lubricant. I don't think it's as good of a lubricant as oil, but what it's really good at is it's a good cleaner. It's made for a transmission where you've got clutch packs interacting and making all kinds of grit and dust, and it helps to kind of clean. And it also helps as it's working to kind of suspend grit and grime, you know, in suspension and help it keep lubricating. So I know Mateo mixes 3 to 1. So if he wants to make a gallon, he puts 3 quarts of synthetic motor oil and then 1 quart of like a synthetic ATF. Nothing wrong with using synthetic. It's probably a tad better. In my opinion, you can use conventional too, though. If you've got just a quart of old SuperTech Walmart oil, you can actually just use that by itself. This really isn't that complicated, guys. And again, I'm not speaking to my main audience. I'm just hoping if some new guy comes on here and, you know, wants to kind of join the crowd and hang out with us, I'm just trying to get people on the right track so we can actually talk about these guns and all the cool stuff about them without having to debate over, you know, so-and-so said that I have to use red wheel bearing grease only. Well, you can if you want. I'm not going to condemn you if you do, but I don't do it, and it's certainly not needed. And I've had these guns for a lot of years. I don't shoot as many rounds as some of these like tactical training facilities, but at the same time, I've shot enough to know that oil does a great job for lubricating, and grease, from my experience, attracts a bunch of grit and grime and kind of makes the gun a lot nastier than it needs to be. So that's just one example. I've recently been talking about triggers, and I'm going to say it again right now. I do not like the Tapco G2. The trigger itself is okay. If you like it, that's fine. The hammer is what's bad with it. The profile's terrible. Yeah, if you use it long enough, it'll break into a point. Yes, you can reprofile. Still don't like it because it's just too hard of a steel. The metallurgy is too hard where it interacts with the carrier. Not to contradict my other video I recently did, that little bit of peening on the tail, that's not a big deal, guys. But at the same time, why do you want to beat the crap out of your carrier with this hammer that's not shaped correctly? It's way too freaking hard. And it's just why? It's not a pleasurable experience. When you're just sitting there cycling the rifle, doing dry fire practice, whatever. Why do you want it to have that ghetto bolt hole open where you pull it back, ease it up against the hammer, and it just stays open? I mean, come on. There's no way that should be a desired feature, in my opinion. Yeah, so let me see what you guys are talking about real quick before I go on. Okay, let's see here. Warsaw Patriot hates Black Friday shopping at stores. Yeah, me too. I don't do that at all. But I will say there's some good stuff online, and I just got done making a purchase. And when I get off here in a little bit, I'm going to have a couple more shopping carts queued up. I'm going to buy a few more things tonight. Let's see here. Recoil sensitive Patriot. If you're out there watching this, okay. Let's see here. Okay, I don't want to get personal, but there's another guy, I guess, recoil sensitive Patriot. Warsaw Patriot says the AK is not an AR. That's true. It's a totally different feel, a totally different world. And I'm not here to even think about like penning the AR against the AK. I like me an AR too. I have plenty of those. I love them. But they're just not the same thing, guys. And if we try to make our AKs just like ARs, we're going to lose exactly what the AK is. And it's just going to be stupid. Again, I don't care. It's not for me. I don't care if you guys put rails on your AK, if you put in the adapter on the rear trunnion to make it where it takes a buffer tube. For me, it seems stupid because the beauty of the AK is it doesn't need to have anything hanging off of the rifle 8 inches to operate. But if that's what you want and it's more comfortable to shoot, that's your rifle, go for it. But I'm hoping the masses don't just take over the whole AK community and try to change it, you know, like how it seems like they're wanting to, where like all parts are going to be standardized and there will be no hand fitting or filing or mating of surfaces. And look, the AK is, regardless of what anyone wants to say, the AK is a hand fitted gun. Although AKs are easy to assemble here in the United States to a point, although they're not nearly as easy as an AR, right? Not even in the same league, but I digress. Actually building an AK from scratch, like actually taking it from raw material to make trunnions, bolt, carrier, barrel, etc. It's a big job. So I don't want people either to fall into the trap that, well, the AK is just this stupid thing that anyone can build. And here's my proof. We have United States manufacturers who, United States has some of the best manufacturing in the world for most things. But for some reason, not many of these American AK manufacturers can get it together enough to actually build something that's, you know, ComBlock compatible as far as quality goes. So there you go. If you don't believe me, just look at the Visca. Look at the C39V2. Look at the RAS 47. Look at the IO Inc., right? I mean, the AK is not that easy to actually build as far as like forming the from stock, forging. Even casting is fine on certain parts if you know what you're doing. It's just, apparently it's not quite so easy. So, I don't know. The AK is like so much simpler than what people are making it out to be on one end. But then on the other end, it's actually way more complicated. So, there's just a lot of stuff floating out there. A lot of misinformation lately. And it just seems like the more famous the AK gets, which is a cool thing, it's just starting to frustrate me on certain levels. Let's see what we got here. Warsaw uses the Hops 9 spray oil. I have a bottle of that Hops number 9 Elite oil, and I think that's pretty good. Mateo said baby oil. I don't know. It probably actually would work. Although baby oil is basically mineral oil. Really, really thin. So, but I bet you baby oil will do better than nothing, to be honest. I'd use it. Why not? Martin Jenkins is here. What's up, Martin? Martin knows a little bit about AK parts, and he's probably also noticed how AK is a pretty big fad right now. It's not just the guys in the closets and in the caves and in the dark rooms like it used to be. AK is mainstream for real. Warsaw says, do not use red automotive grease. The stuff eats paint. Again, back to what I said earlier. I'm not going to tell you not to use it, but at the same time, I don't use it. And, you know, I've told you guys why. Cleaning. Yeah, I'm going to do another video about cleaning the AK later. Let's see here. Yeah, Warsaw does bring up a point. Hot water cleans out corrosive salts if you're shooting corrosive ammo. If you're shooting, you know, the 7.62 by 39, you're not going to find a ton of corrosive on the current market. The only thing I can think of that's currently available to be corrosive is like the Yugo Brascase M67 ammo. That's going to have a corrosive primer. All the other stuff you might have stockpiled away, but you're not going to buy much of the other Milsurp corrosive ammo anymore. 5.45 by 39. Well, I guess that's kind of the same way. The 7 and 6 is drying up pretty good. You can still find it for like 5 times more than what it was before Obama banned it. But, you know, the 7 and 6, that's going to be corrosive primer too. And that's the thing too, if anyone doesn't know this, when they say it's corrosive ammo, look, there's several components that make up ammunition, right? So the casing's not going to be the corrosive part. The bullet's not going to be corrosive. The powder's actually not even going to be corrosive. The corrosive part is the primer. And the reason these primers are corrosive is they use a certain chemical that works in extremely cold weather. So when you're talking Soviet Union, I mean, that's part of the Soviet Union. You know, Siberia, for example, is in the former Soviet Union, and that gets pretty cold, right? Like about as cold as it gets. So they added a chemical there to make it where these primers would still ignite readily at like negative 60 degrees or whatever their spec was. And what happens is when that burns, it creates a byproduct that's like a corrosive salt. I'm not a scientist. I may have got that off a little bit, but the principle is this. It's the primer that's corrosive. And it's not technically the primer that's corrosive. It's the byproduct of the combustion of it that leaves like a salt residue behind that's anywhere from mildly to mediumly corrosive. It's not like the most corrosive thing ever. It's not like you're pouring, you know, muriatic acid in there. It's not corrosive like that. However, if you shoot a bunch of corrosive ammo and just leave the rifle set in like a sealed case, which is the worst way to store your rifle, by the way. But if you just leave it in a plastic case, yeah, you're going to end up with a bunch of corrosion over time, rust, etc. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, Mateo's talking about the synthetic oil. Tends to have some really good properties for keeping the gun a bit cleaner. I think what happens is certain oils leave like a molecular film behind on the metal, and that film actually has the ability to resist further deposits, right? If you guys remember that old, I think it was the old Mobil 1 or Castrol Syntec, one of the two, commercial where they start the engine up, drain all the oil, and it would run so long. I think it was Castrol Syntec. And their point to that commercial was even after we've drained all the oil out of the engine, there's still enough film left to release some of the surface tension and not have the parts grind together. Oh, we got a new guy in the house. Masters of the Kalashnikov. Have we heard of the Riley Defense? AK. The Riley's awesome. Seems to be a lot better than the Visca, doesn't it? I'd like to get Masters of the Kalashnikov's opinion on that. Warsaw Patriot. My friend Zeke shot the hell out of 2 of them. So, yeah, we're well aware of them. Let's see here. It's a Gen 1. Yeah, Masters, if you've never heard of Zeke Shoots, that's where we're getting a lot of our info, right? Okay, let's see here. Francis, how's it going? Want to see my reaction on the gun-related show? Go to YouTube, type in UPOTTE episode 1, fast forward to 2:30. All right, I'll look at that later and let you know afterwards. I'm not exactly sure what this is, but if any of you guys want to go check it out, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm not like all advanced like some of the guys with these streams. I'm not using software. I'm literally just using this live streaming app. And I'm afraid if I click too much on the computer, I'm going to kick myself off. I know that sounds stupid, but that's the truth. Let's see here. Warsaw Patriot brings up a good point. AKs take patience to build. AKs are not Lego building AR guns. That's true. You know, with an AR, everything's going to be the same spec where you just simply take something and it just like, you know, just pop it in. Oh, wait a minute. There's no sleeve there. What do I do? See what I'm saying? You can't just pop this stuff in and expect it to work perfect. Sometimes you can. Other times you literally have to sit there with a little, you know, jeweler's file set, maybe some emery cloth. In some cases, Dremel. Don't take the Dremel thing to extremes, though, guys. Dremel can do a lot of damage, but if you're really good with hand tools and good with the Dremel, that serves a good purpose too. But yeah, there's going to be custom fitting, especially if you have like a Mixmaster parts kit or a complete Franken gun where you're building kits from like 5 different countries. Some of the countries, as we know, aren't going to be compatible at all. But assuming they're all basic AKM, yeah, you should expect to do some fitting. And be patient and enjoy the hobby. Because let's face it, guys, in this day and age, you're not going to build for cheaper. There's no way. Like, you might build for literally like a couple dollars cheaper, but if you look at what these parts kits cost now, you look what quality barrels cost, all your small parts, your little, you know, pins and your springs and your rivets, and then if you factor it in like minimum wage at $9 an hour, you're going to be working below minimum wage to build your gun. However, you should build it because either A, you're a tinker, you like the hobby, you like to fool around with stuff, reason to get away from the old lady, go out in the garage. That's a great reason, you know. I mean, I don't want to get away from my wife and go out in the garage, even though I was there for like 6 hours last night because she's the perfect wife. But I digress. Anyways, she's a great wife, but I still like to go out to the garage, guys. Everyone does. You know, you can build because you want perfection. Nobody's builds are up to your standards. They're not doing things that are historically correct, maybe. There's a million good reasons to build, but you're not going to build for cheaper. So if you don't love the act of building, if you don't want to love your rifle after you're done with it, then don't build. Just buy one. That would be my advice on that. Master Kalashnikov wants to build a Romanian AK. Is that the same as a Wasser? Let's see. Okay, Warsaw is a felony in there. Yep, it's a Romanian import. Different from a surplus. Well, kind of different than a surplus, but it just depends. If you look at the older Wassers, like the 1063s and the original Wasser 10s, those were actually built from Romanian parts kits. You can actually see all the military troop proof marks. I even have a really cool early Wasser that has the famous Y barrel, which was said to be Russian barrels that were provided to the Romanians during the first couple of years. And coincidentally, it's on a 1964 parts kit, and it has that Y barrel. So there's actually some pretty cool history out there, guys, about the Wasser. Now, the new Wassers, let's say new is in like maybe 2013-ish and forward, those are all new guns. And they're made in the Cougar factory, the same one that the military has used and still uses, but they're made with clearly civilian marks on them. And you're not going to see that famous triangle proof mark. The serial numbers are going to be different font set. Still good guns. Just watch out because some of the Century imports on those have this balsa wood for the furniture, and the wood just sucks. So I've seen lately where there's a different SKU you can get, and you can specify your Wasser to have military wood. It might cost a few dollars more. I'd say that's a good idea. That balsa wood is literally horrible. And we've seen other people test it, and yeah, it sucks, guys. I've never bought that wood, but I have experience with some buddies that do, and just throw it out, to be honest with you. Unless you don't shoot your gun, then you can just look at it and enjoy how pretty it looks. But yeah, the Wasser is an interesting thing. It's a civilian gun, formerly built on parts kits, now built from new parts, and it's a solid choice. Let's see here. Let's see what we got here. Okay, I'm missing a few things. Francis needs to see my reaction. Give me a minute. I'll look at it in a second here. I'll take a little break in a few minutes and check it out on my phone. How about that? Conspirace. Oh, Conspirace is here. He's hard to find, guys. If you haven't seen him before, he's not even a friend of mine personally. Like, I don't know who he is, but I go to the Conspirace channel if you guys are looking for a couple fun videos. If you're listening still, Conspirace, you haven't done any videos in a while, but you should do a few more. This guy's pretty cool. He's kind of out there, but in a funny, cool way. Let's see here. Recoil sensitive Patriots in the house. Does owning a drum make me a gunsmith? I would say the owning of it, not necessarily, but but I think it's useful. Warsaw Patriot. Okay, Warsaw and Recoil Patriot are in the same at the same time, so this proves that Recoil is not Warsaw. Oh man, that was funny. Just owning a drum will make me a gunsmith. I'm sorry. Okay, let's see here. Hopefully Warsaw and Warsaw Patriot and Recoil Sensitive Patriot are friends, and if so, thanks for bringing him in. Let's see here. Okay, Zeke Shoots is here. Hey Zeke, how's it going? Yeah, Masters of the Kalashnikov. This Zeke Shoots that's in here. That's the one I was going to refer you to. Let's see here. And there's a lot of comments, guys. You guys are having fun tonight, it looks like. This is good, though. I like reading you guys' comments. That's kind of the main reason I do this, really. I kind of pretend I'm trying to maybe teach some guys some things, but you guys probably know all this stuff. But the comments are good. Let's see here. This isn't. That isn't him. Okay. Okay, Retro's in the house. How's it going? Thanks, man. I'm trying to give some good information. So hopefully you like what you see. And yeah, check out some of my other recent videos too if you haven't yet. Albert's here. What's up, man? Yeah, Zeke Shoots. I think Zeke subscribed to Conspiracy too. He does. He has some interesting videos on global warming. I think it's kind of cool. And some Kerr Stalker Warsaw says, I don't think Conspiracy is a stalker, man. Conspiracy is kind of like on the down low. If you watch his channel, you'll know what I mean. He only has like 4 videos, let's say, but he's kind of a down low type of dude. Let's see here. Mateo, yeah, there's a new guy that popped up by the name of Recoil. And he said something funny right off the bat about if I have a Dremel, does it make me a gunsmith? I'm sorry, that was funny. Let's see here. Recoil Patriot. Okay, sounds like you and Morris hung out on the weekend. That's cool. What are we talking about here? Oh, Boris, how's it going, man? Yeah, this is me myself, right? It's hard to fake. Mateo, yeah, this new guy, Recoil, he's in the chat up here, just a few posts. He says, Warsaw, the mean things you say to me, you shouldn't act like you didn't know me last weekend. I'm guessing they're friends in real life and they're in an argument, guys, but it's all good. Let's see here. Zeke, yeah, Zeke has 8K on the Gen 2, 700 on the Gen 1. Which here's the thing, guys. You guys got to spread it to your friends about Zeke's Riley. Like, now that the Visca sucks and everybody knows it, which, let's face it, all of us probably knew it was going to suck to begin with before it came out. But now that it's basically, they've proven the inevitable, everyone's always want to talk about the Riley now because people want a USA-made AK that's going to work. And, you know, there's these other people that aren't even, like, into the AK at all. And they're putting out this Riley video and getting like 20,000 views on it in a week. And Zeke's like the real Riley, you know, guru on YouTube. So when you guys are on AK Files, when you guys are on YouTube, other people's streams, whatever, I'm not telling you to shill for Zeke or to like spam for him. It's different than that. Make sure that when the Riley comes up, you guys are sending them to Zeke's channel because he really has, in all honesty, probably done the most with the Riley of any YouTuber that I know of. And Zeke is a friend of mine, in full disclosure. I talked to him outside of YouTube. However, it's just a fact. Zeke's pretty much the the guy to go to for the Riley, and I think we should be looking at the Riley more and more since Century still can't get it right and probably will never get it right. Let's see what we got here. Boris, sweet milled rifle back there. Thanks, man. That's yeah, I'll put that down in a minute. I always like me an underfolder, so this is kind of a unique one back here that most people probably haven't heard of. Most people outside of you guys haven't heard of. Let's see here. Warsaw is something about Indiana. I'll have to check up on that. Retro subscribed after he bought his first AKM. I'm getting to know a lot. Appreciate your info. Now I'm throwing everything I can about the gun. That's the thing, guys. Retro's the kind of guy that I'm wanting to do some videos for. The AK's become really popular. New guys getting into it. Again, that's great. And I just want to kind of bring people back to what the AK really is. It's a great hobby to get into. Kind of a bad hobby too, though, because it's so addictive. You might never have any money or any space in your closet again, which, yeah, whatever. But the AK is not as basic as what people think it is in some regards, but it's not as complicated as what people think either. And I'm going to start doing short little series here on my channel, just kind of going right back to the beginning where, look, this is a good way to take it apart. Just that little thing. I watch so many people struggle to get that top cover on there. You just firmly plant it into that little channel on the rear sight base. As you're pushing it down, give it a little wiggle left or right, and it just seems to do the trick. Man, I wish people would show some of these, like, I hate to say it, really famous YouTubers that little trick. Because you'll watch guys with like hundreds of thousands of subs putting an AK together, and you know they're trying to get it put back together, and they're you know putting this on, and they're I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You can do that, but guys, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, you see people come in and you know they come in like this, and I've seen people try to, like, let me get in front of the camera here. They'll try to do something weird where they'll hook the back end in first, and then they'll try to, like, shimmy slide it into the front, and then they'll come through, and you'll watch them doing this. It's fine, guys. I'm not criticizing them, but geez, oh, Pete's just put the stupid thing in the front. There's a channel already milled out for it, right? Put some downward pressure on it. It's not quite wanting to go yet, right? So I'm just going to wiggle it. I just gave it a little shimmy, and it just went right in. So there's a little tip, you know, that literally people that have had like 1 million views on their video, you know, are making this complicated, and it shouldn't have to be that way. Let's see what else we got going in the comments, guys. Zeke Shoots is just here for the cookies. Actually, you know what, Zeke? Since Zeke is my friend, and he is a good friend, I got a little crust from being in my pocket, okay? But it says in Chinese here, may love you a long time. And here's a fortune cookie for you, man. So there you go. I'm going to send you this. I just sent it over the internet with love. So there you go. Zeke gets a cookie and nobody else does. So let's see here. Warsaw, let's see. Okay, yeah, Francis remembers me talking about this gun maybe, or probably already knows what the M64 Yugo is. That M64 Yugo is an interesting cat, by the way. It's got a couple unique features and unique build construction on the receiver that kind of makes it one of a kind. There's really not another one like it that exists. The M64 is its own species, we'll say. I'm seeing a lot of fire and brimstone in this chat, guys. There's flames in here. It's okay. If you guys are gay, you can be gay all you want. If you're flaming gay, that's cool too. You can use flames. I don't care. I'm a conservative, which means I'm actually more liberal than the liberals. So I'll accept all of you in here. As long as you're getting into these guns and doing the right thing, we can all hang out. Let's see here. Mateo's not seeing recoil. He's in here, and as long as he's being nice right now, I see smiley faces. Look, I cut recoil a little bit of slack. From what I'm reading here in the comments, he's good friends with Warsaw Patriot, who's, you know, our buddy. So try to cut him a little slack, you know. Make him feel welcome, I guess, is what I'm saying. Let's see here. Masters of the Kalashnikov. Got into AKs because of PUBG. Anyone else? Oh, Zeke's like, let's see here. Boris, in his case, grew around AKs and combat rifles. Yeah, I kind of did a little bit too. You know, my dad got some SKS rifles early on, inspired me to get my first rifle or gun, period, which was an SKS. I still like the SKS and probably have more of them than I do AKs, but, you know, yeah, it's kind of one thing leads to another with these combat guns, doesn't it? Warsaw, let's see here. Warsaw's mad at one of the other guys, but I'm hoping they're friends, you know. Let's see here. Mateo. Sounds like a lover's quarrel. It could be. It's hard to see the avatar. I think recoil sensitive. I think recoil sensitive is Warsaw's brother because they look alike. They look an awful lot alike, actually. Let's see here. Boris has got 5 fortune cookies in his kitchen if anyone wants one. No. Zeke's the only one that gets a cookie. Okay? Oh, guys, come on. Anyways, yeah, Zeke, this is a mismatch, and I'm actually totally digging it. Okay, look at this. This is an AK-63D. Original wood Hungarian. Then we've got this real dark, just baked in shellac, and like, you can only get this look if it's like seasoned with years of use, right? Actually, Zeke did a pretty good job when he did the distressing of his North Korean, but unless you spend a lot of effort, you can't really fake this kind of look. And then it's got this brand new, and it's hard to tell in the light, but look at that. This beautiful tiger striping. And it's so mismatched. I'm actually really liking this look. And Lindbergh, what about the Sentry Hungarian underfolder? Absolutely, dude. I'm not gonna be biased. I hate Sentry in so many regards, but the AK-63DS, from my experience, is a fine rifle. And I'm not gonna go bragging to you guys and pretend this is something it's not. This is indeed an AK-63DS from Sentry right here. So it's funny you brought that up. That's exactly what this gun is, man. Let's see if I can get that to focus. And this thing is smooth. Everything's put together good. These are $550 right now at Atlantic. And every once in a while I do this, guys. Pretty much the only thing that interests me is like more of these rare AKs. Well, they all interest me, but I kind of already have all the regular ones. So usually I'm kind of trolling around looking for a rare variant or pre-band. But once in a while I like to just buy myself a $500-600 gun to have fun with. And I just picked this up. And yeah, everything straight as an arrow on it. I mean, no canting at all. And a little bit of canting on the front sight post is fine. Fitment of everything is really good. And this AK-63DS, they made these a while ago. Haven't made them for a little bit now. And I'm guessing Atlantic's just selling some surplus inventory. And yeah, these are Hungarian parts where it counts. So basically everything on this is Hungarian with the exception of the receiver, which from a purist standpoint, just got the XY. I wish it had the YXY. So that's one little negative. The barrel, I'm sure it's going to be fine for now. I have no need to put 10,000 rounds through this gun. I've got enough other ones. But everything else besides the trigger, which is the rack one, is Hungarian. So you're not going to have to worry about cracked trunnions and cracked bolts and all that kind of stuff. So I'd highly recommend this. And again, nothing against Riley. Zeke's doing great things about, you know, to give us information on Riley. I'd say they're a good one. But just don't forget about these. And I think these will be drying up soon. $550 from Atlantic right now. It's the only place I know of that, about the cheapest place I know of rather that has these. And what's cool about this too is I hate a Parkerized gun, but I'm glad this one's parked because this gives me a perfect base. Sometime in the next week or two when I get time, I'm going to paint this black. And then as the paint chips off a little bit, it's going to give it the exact look I want. So Parkerizing, you have to degrease it completely. I like to use denatured alcohol or acetone to totally degrease. And then it makes an excellent, excellent base for basically spray paint. I'm going to spray paint this with a rattle can. I'll probably use the black Sherwin-Williams. It's like a ceramic fortified barbecue grill paint. And it seems to match up to the correct sheen and just as durable as any other Combat rifle. And if any of you has ever owned a SLR or SGL imported by Arsenal or now Fime Group, you'll know the paint chips right off of them. And guess what? It did in military service too. So just depends what you guys' thing is, but yeah, I'm gonna be spray painting this black soon. I'm gonna talk about the Rack 1 in a minute. I like this, by the way, but let me check in the comments here. Yeah, Francis is telling Limbert he has the AK-63D, which I have too, and that's a fun gun to shoot. The D is not correct because the Hungarians never made a milled folder like this. Their milled version was an AK-55, and the AK-55 was not a folder. So it's kind of like a bastard gun in a way because it's just not correct. But I also have one of the AK-63Ds, as opposed to this is the so-called DS from Century. Now just keep in mind the proper nomenclature is actually AK-63D from Hungary. Let's see here. Zeke loves the trigger too. I actually do, guys. There's something about this trigger. Now keep in mind this trigger is double hook. So that means you're gonna have to have a double hook receiver, which Century's using on this rifle. Or you can take your single hook receiver and cut that second hook in there. Or another thing you can do is just simply cut off one of the hooks on the trigger itself, just so that it'll clear. So you can easily convert a double hook trigger into a single hook, or you can take a single hook receiver and convert that to accept double hook. Now, I'm personally a fan of the double hook, so if it was me and I wanted it in my single hook rifle, I would actually modify the receiver to allow clearance for that second hook. And since Zeke's in the chat, I'd like to see his opinion on that, because I'm sure he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see here. Reading the comments real quick here. I don't know if the Mahdi's out of Egypt are bad necessarily, but man, some of their building tactics have been similar to IO in the past that we've seen. Their paint usually sucks. Tons of extra tooling marks. But being the kind of AK guy I am, I think there's something cool about them. I like how fugly they are and how crude they are. And they're actually like amongst my favorites, even though I'd say they're probably like the shittiest factory AK there is in many regards, but I like them. And I've got a fixed stock with the laminated stock. I love that. I've got a so-called crutch folder, you know. I like that one too. So yeah, they're just cool in like an AK sort of way, right? Like the look only a mother would love, but they're cool. Okay, let's see here. Twisted's here. Oh, welcome back, man. I was afraid you'd run off after a while. Okay, Twisted shouting out Warsaw. Warsaw saying hi. That's cool. I think these guys have made amends, you know. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, now when we say, like Francis saying, I'd inspect the Mahdi. Just to say Mahdi is pretty vague. When I say Mahdi, I'm talking about parts kits, right? Parts kits built guns. There's some different versions that have been imported, and I'm going to defer to Misha like I like to do. Misha's done some great videos on those. And watch out for one called a Misser 90 is the only thing I'm going to say, because the Misser 90 is an abomination of a Mac 90 with an Egyptian Misser, and the Mac 90 is not an AKM, right? So when they kind of melded it all together to make it into an AK, it kind of became an abomination, and it's a shame how many nice Chinese kits and were messed up doing that, but just whatever. I'd avoid a Misser 90. Okay, Boris is also a double hook fan. I like the feel of a double hook. It's not a deal breaker, but I think so. Feels a lot smoother with a glassier break. In some cases, yeah. A lot of that has to do with engagement surface too. But yeah, I kind of think they have more of a solid feel. Yeah, so like Zeke's saying, they don't really require too much effort to get to cooperate with the selector. And remember that, guys. We don't need anyone getting hurt. Everyone knows for years, Century put out these guns where if the selector overextends, it can cause the gun to fire by extending it beyond the safe position. Just watch what you're doing. I'm not a gunsmith, so I'm not going to recommend you guys do anything. But at the same time, you guys can do this. It's just, you got to watch what you're doing. Use some common sense. Thoroughly see what's going to happen in all scenarios with that selector after you've done any modifications to your trigger group, because there are many guns. Let's just say tens of thousands, probably, if not hundreds of thousands of guns out there right now, where if this comes up too far and you don't have a nice fit, and this is able to overextend, hyperextend above, that your gun will fire. Now, you would have already had to violate a bunch of the other rules of gun safety, because with the 4 rules of gun safety, you have to violate at least 2 to hurt someone. So if you're following the rules of gun safety, you probably won't kill anybody. But do you really want to blow a hole in your floor or wake up your family in the middle of the night? I mean, so just watch yourself. It is possible to create a dangerous situation when you're messing with the trigger group or selector on an AK. And that's something else I'd like to do a short video on, because again, it's just important for us to kind of get back to the basics on a lot of this stuff. Some of it is more complicated than people like to acknowledge, but a lot of these new things that are like fanboy stuff, for lack of a better word. I get it, guys. You get a new gun, you get into a new platform, you want to have fun and like really get into it, but just don't stress yourself out by reinventing the wheel. That's what I want to say to any newer guys that are getting into this hobby. Some of this stuff is just so simple. That's the beauty of it. Other things deserve a little more attention with this platformer gun, right? Let's see what we got going on here, guys. So Mateo, yeah, the feel of the Tapco trigger, that's an opinion whether you like the feel of the actual trigger itself. But I'm still going to say the hammer's still bad news in my opinion, period. It's just not good for your rifle. Zeke, the Mr. 90, knows where 3.0 displayed proudly. Where would that be? Warsaw loves the Rack 1. Yeah, I'm starting to like this more and more. It seems like it has the right shape. And I have one that I'll have to show you guys next time that actually has some wear on it a little bit. And it seems like it's just wearing really nice and smooth. And then not a bunch of hiccups and like steep ledges on it like some of these other triggers. Let's see here. Love the Rack 1. If you see him twisted, help me out. Okay. Twisted, I try to stay out of it a little bit. I think these guys could be, I don't know, according to the other guy, this Recoil fella, they got into it last weekend, so I don't know if I want to go there. If you would want to go there, you know, it's up to you. I know you and Morsaw's been at it at the past, so maybe you guys could just kind of be cool with each other for now. You know what I'm saying, Morsaw? I understand what you're saying. Like, you want his help. I get that, but maybe right now you guys just kind of, you know, get back to being cool again. Let's see here. See, Boris says the 104 has the extra hold. Okay, so the Rec 1 Springs Evil is what Boris said. You know what? I'm kind of old school, guys. So you know what I'm actually going to do? I know there's some people in here that love this spring, which is fine. It's basically a clone of like the ALG, you know, high energy spring, right? But being old school how I am, I'm going to be putting this in a gun soon. And I'm actually going to set this spring to the side. And I've got me a brand new, unissued in the Cosmoline braided Combox spring. And this is actually going to replace the Rec 1 spring. So when you're as particular as I am about these guns, it's like never quite easy enough just to do it all in one, right? Like I want to use this trigger because I'm starting to like it, but yet I don't want the spring. So now I'm going to go to this spring, but I'm not going to use a retaining plate. And that's another thing. So many people like the plate, which is fine, but I'm a big fan of this. I like the old so-called paper clip, the shepherd's hook. This is what I like. This is what all your Combox militaries used. And I think these are great, and I actually like them more than a plate. And I got to figure out what YouTube's policies are nowadays, what they're enforcing and not. I'd love to do a quick video for you guys showing you how easy this shepherd's hook is to actually use. It's a simple trick. Most people try to put it together like backwards per se, and these are a lot easier to install than you might think they are. So if I can do that without getting my channel banned, I'd like to do a quick video showing how I install the shepherd's hook and how it's like this real easy little trick, and it's like seamless. And I like it more than a retaining plate. Yeah, Mateo uses the high energy spring, which is cool. That's great. You can use it, it's fine. I kind of still like the old braided com block spring. It kind of gives me more of the feel I'm used to. But that's the thing with my AKs. I don't want my AKs to have like that hair trigger feel. That's why I don't usually go to the ALG trigger. I like them still to have a regular com block feel to them. So, you know, that's why I don't mind this rack one in here. It's kind of, the trigger's fine. But if you look at this one here, this is what I like. It's got a rack one trigger in it. But if you notice, when Century built this rifle, they still use the surplus spring from the spring kit. So this is kind of my model of why I'm telling you guys I like this combination. The trigger feels fine. The hammer seems to be profiled correctly. But with that braided, you know, traditional weight spring, it still gives me that classic AK trigger pull that I'm used to and that I'm expecting, right? And I see a few of you guys. Oh, by the way, what's up, 6'4" Leader Hemi Power? How's it going? I see a few guys. If you guys are immediately, adamantly defending the retaining plate, that's fine. I'm not telling you guys not to like them. Don't mistake me, okay? You guys can use them. They're fine. I just want to dispel the myth out there, and I don't think you guys are getting at this, but I would challenge either of you to say the spring, the shepherd's hook paperclip doesn't work, because it actually works just fine. I know you guys aren't saying that. I'm just saying hypothetically. I mean, I don't know. These fully automatic guns all use paper clips that were machine guns and have been used now for a very long time in many countries, and they don't use retaining plates. So all I'm trying to get at is this. If you're building your parts kit and you want to use a shepherd's hook, that's what you have. You don't have money to buy a retaining plate or just don't want to, I think the paper clip's fine. And you guys can more than disagree. If you think the paper clip's horrible, tell me. I just think most of the paper clip problems I've seen are people not knowing how to install them correctly. So I'm just catching up on the comments here. Oh, I have to leave the Cosmoline on, Zeke says. I'll leave it on. Why not? This part of the trigger group, it's fine to leave it on there. I'll do it just to do it. Now, this rifle's already set up how I want it to be, keep in mind. But this is going to go on another gun here. Actually, that Romanian PM90 I've showed you guys. That almost completed parts kit build that I bought, that I had the problems with Atlantic, and then they sent me the right parts. That's actually where all this is going into. This, along with the traditional braided spring, and yes, the paper clip indeed. Let's see here. I've actually had it before with the retaining plate. I have actually had it interfere. I'm trying to remember whose retaining plate that was. I'll have to dig that out. There was one retaining plate I ran across once, and it was actually interfering, and I had to take and grind off a little bit of it. But let's see here. 6'4" says evolution. Yeah, but keep in mind, evolution, you can evolve so much to the point where you actually hit the crest of that hill and then almost go to like evolution to the point of de-evolution too. So it's a fine line. And when you start adding it all up, you can change a retaining plate here. You can retain a gas tube there. You can change the stock. Once you start changing everything on your AK, then in all honesty, is it even an AK? That's kind of the thought I'm throwing out there, you know. But a lot of it just comes down to that you can use these com block parts. And if you don't think you can, I'm just saying there's militaries that fought wars with these com block parts. If you don't like them, then that's totally different. This is America. We can do whatever we want to a point. I guess not whatever we want because government agency overreach, but you guys know what I mean. Yeah, Zeke talks about the TAPCO. That's exactly the one that I had to modify. You're 100% correct. That is the one that I had problems with. And this is years ago. And I've tried it out, guys. I'm not just literally going to sit there and be like, I'm a purist, so I won't even try something new. No, I'm just giving you guys real life stories where I had a retaining plate that was difficult to install, finally realized it was impossible to install until I modified it. And then I've realized that there's a trick on how to actually install these paper clips where it's really easy to do. Let's see. Oh, I'm glad I just scrolled up. Zeke saying I got flagged on a similar video. Don't do it. If it's the same D-bags that report me or following you, I wouldn't let them have the opportunity. So, but there is a way to install it. It's really, really easy, guys. And I struggled with it years ago, being like, how the heck does this stupid thing go in? And let's just say, go against the pin first. Don't put it on the selector, around the selector first. Put it up against the pin first, where it makes friction on the bottom of the receiver there, where it kind of has tension. Let it butt up in the groove on the rearward pin, and then get it lined up with the hole and the selector. Without showing you, which I unfortunately can't do per policy, that's just my best tip. Just start with it at the pin first. And Zeke can tell me if I'm explaining that right. I'm trying to explain as much as I can without getting kicked off of here, because I know Zeke's had strikes and everybody has. Okay, Mateo likes the fact that the retaining plate is nice because it's big and easy to deal with out in the field versus the clip. That's a good reason to like it. That's fine. I've never actually had to deal with the paper clip in the field, though. So I'm not trying to say it's a moot point, but yeah, you're right. You may have to deal with it in the field. It's possible. Let's see here. Yeah, C-clips. I've actually seen those. E-clips is what I think you actually mean. I've actually seen E-clips. Like if you guys are into chainsaws, there's like the E-clip that holds the sprocket on. And yeah, I've actually seen that before, and that was kind of wild. I'm not a fan of that. Twist is not sure if he has the clip or the plate. You'll have to look. Well, if you see something that looks like a paper clip, then you've got the you know what I'm saying, right? You'll know as soon as you look. But the fact of the matter is, for all intents and purposes, if you don't look for it, you probably won't know, because the only time I've seen these pins walk is when somebody installs it improperly, and they usually install it backwards, and they try to start with getting it on the selector level and then go down into the pins. But I'm just gonna say, start off with it on the pin and then work your way up. Let's see here. Okay. Warsaw Patriot has a Sweeney retaining plate he bought for his ORAS 47. Still have it, and I'm going to be using it for my next build. Okay. Hemi Power says, my points make sense 100%. I agree, other than the paper clip. Yeah, you don't have to agree with me. But I hope you believe me, though, that it does work for me. And I'm not going to tell you not to use a retaining plate, but please believe me. I swear to God, it works for me. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see here. The only thing Warsaw liked out of the RAS 47 was the rack one trigger. Yeah. And Mateo knows nothing about paper retention devices. I would agree. You have to be able to read before paper is useful. So that's why Mateo doesn't know about the paper clip. The dude can't read. Let's see here. Tyven shows here. How's it going? I'm sure most of you guys know Tyven show. Let's see here. Mateo's saying, I'm just not a fan of anything that requires finer motor skills for his gross if I can have a choice. No, I hear you. It's fine. But like I said, there are some tricks though. To install that paper clip. Twisted's got to go in the morning to do some training. All right, good night. Nice seeing you in here. Glad to have you back. And yeah, like I said, happy to see you again. I was afraid we wouldn't see you for a while there, but Oh, by the way, Twisted, next time let me know about your Pioneer, because as much as I was ripping on it, I am curious to see if there's anything with like this newer import versus the older one. So I was meaning to talk to you a few weeks about that. So send me a message or comment or something. I'd like to talk to you a little more about your Pioneer. Let's see here, guys. Zeke Shoots has used alligator clips before. Which you can do. And here's the funny part, guys. Like when people want to get too fancy, I always have to remind them to the whole thing, right? Like that you can hold this together with wooden matchsticks and fire 3 shots. So just keep that in mind when all else fails and people want to overcomplicate this system here. You can always throw that in their eye. Let's see, Francis, what's going on with this? Okay, hold on a minute. Francis, repost what I'm supposed to type into the search here. Worse, I would rather watch Bebop Cowboy. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. I'm trying to keep up with the comments, but I think I might have missed a few things. Anime. Okay, I don't know anything about that. So you guys can talk about it though. That's cool. I'm just not gonna be able to contribute too much. Okay, let's see here. Let me get into my phone here and check this out. Oh, Zeke texted me. Let's see what Zeke said first here. Maybe. Look at this. Let me go put my phone on the charger. Of course, my battery's gonna die right now. All right, sorry about that. I'm gonna let my phone charge for a minute, and then I'm gonna take a quick break and watch this. See, I have no way to watch this right now without it like backfeeding through my microphone. So I thought I'd just step out of the room real quick, take a little breather, watch this on my phone, and give Francis a reaction. It's just that my phone battery literally just died. I tried to flash it to you guys. You know, I prioritize myself with high quality AKs and AK parts and kind of neglect getting a new phone when I need to. Boris says he's never seen a true hipster in the wild. Oh, you've seen them. It's just they've got such a disguise on. Well, you saw one, man. You saw my video about the CZ75 with the recessed slide rails. That's a hipster for you. And I hate to say it, guys, but I am gonna, I think, do it maybe weekly or bi-weekly. There is gonna be a hipster weekly episode. I kind of really like the beard and the hair, and I just feel like I kind of want to do a weekly hipster episode. Okay, 6.4 Hemi said, just picked up a Lynx 12 and it's an excellent value to anyone who can't find a Vepr 12. Yeah, I've heard they're decent. Mel had one and he did some stuff on his too, if you guys want to check that out. What I really like is that AWS Spets 12. That's made off of like a Lynx, if you will, but it's like, you know, one of those firearms with the brace. I think that's pretty cool too. Boris has never seen a true hipster. I already said that. No, there is hipsters out there, guys. Trust me. Hipsters are kind of like, I guess loosely translated, it's a modern day hippie, if you will, but it's so much more to it than that. Yeah, Mateo, I need to cover the CZ more. And here's the funny thing too. I've been holding off and biting my lip, but one of these days I'm gonna have to come on in a stream or a video and just go at it like with CZs for an hour and a half straight. And just pull all of them out. Just let everyone go nuts. Exactly. 6.4 says, who needs a new phone when you can just grab an under folder? There you go. Phone battery's dying. I can charge it fully and it gets like a couple hours of use. And the battery's already dead. But who needs that? Like, guarantee you this could destroy that phone. So this is probably a better investment, right? Let's see here. Warsaw has a beard. Makes him look older and more mature. Dude, you still look pretty young, okay? And I don't know if I'd call that a beard either. Come on, dude. Like, this isn't even a beard yet at all. But this, I don't know, man. You're trying. I noticed that Recoil, if he's still in here, that guy that goes by Recoil, I noticed he and his avatar has a little beard too. He looks a lot like you, man. Let's see here. What else you guys are saying? Yeah, Mateo says 20 years of carrying a CZ or a variant. Hipster and Johnny come latelys have all but ruined that gum for me, pretty much. And I don't want all the new guys to ruin the AK, and they're not all trying to. I just think there's a lot of real basic stuff. That's kind of where, back to how I started out this stream. You know, we can introduce new guys if they want to, you know, be cool, and we can teach them, and they might teach us a few things too. You know, but I just don't want them to come in and like fundamentally change this gun so much that it's not even the same thing anymore. That's all I'm getting at. Let's see here. Okay, now I have to scroll back up again, which I don't think it's that far. I don't even know how to pronounce this. UPOTTE. Episode 1. All right, let me try to get my phone again. All right. I never claimed I was a professional, guys, so. Anyways, let me just real quick see what you guys have here. I got that video queued up. I'm going to watch it in 1 second. Let's see here. No, Warsaw, I don't have earbuds on me right now. I mean, I have them here and there, but none like literally right here. No, I wasn't using the bathroom. I literally walked over to my phone to see if I had enough charge to go watch this anime video for a second. And Francis, am I supposed to watch the whole thing or just like a little bit after 2 minutes 30 seconds? Oh man, 6.4. I have a 54R Vepr and I love it. It's a really, really nice gun actually. I think it's actually probably the best one if you want my opinion. I love a 54R AK. Let's see here. And I also have the 545 and the 7.62x39 Vepr and the 308. So I got all of them, but I really like the I really like the 54R, probably my favorite. Let's see here. Oh, Recoil's back. I'm still here, but Warsaw's being mean. Okay, Warsaw just admitted he probably does know his real name, so. But there you go. So, he said, I got the Mosin and 54R. Really? I didn't know they made the Mosin in that chain ring. Have any of you guys ever heard of a 7.62x54R Mosin? I thought they were all Bannerman 30-06 conversions. That's the only one I'm familiar with. I mean, all my Mosins are Bannerman conversions. They're not rare or anything. You know, I got a few hundreds of them. Let's see here. Moist Nugget. I've heard it called that before, too. Let's see here. Braster's was at a 7.62x53. He's just like 1 millimeter shy, right? Are you basically, Braster, trying to say like you're 1 card short of a full deck? Is that like the analogy? He's like, come on, guys, can I still shoot with you? I play with the 7.62x53R. I think that's what you're trying to say. I can't only rip on Warsaw. I got to try to figure something out. Let's see here. No, you're right. The Finns do call it that. I just, for some reason, it was kind of funny. Let's see here. Warsaw. Wade. Who's Wade? Is that a new user in here? I'm not sure about Wade. Mike J is here. How's it going, man? Yeah, I just kind of popped on for the hell of it because I was looking at some of these parts, and one of the guys in the chat texted me and said, just got my rack 1 in. I need to build. Yeah, I'm doing a build, needed some more parts. And I said, you know what's hilarious? I had this rack 1 sitting here, kind of wanted to do a little video on it. And then I just kind of, like I usually do, just went off and started boring the absolute crap out of you guys. Yeah, thankfully, guys, I saved your butts. I beat Zeke to an episode of Earbleed Theater, so. The Earbleed Theater is fun. Like, you kind of want to mute it, but then as soon as you want to mute it, you're like, oh, man, there's this one song. And it'll start to be just catchy enough where you're like, okay, this is cool. And then a few minutes later, you're like, oh, make it stop. And then just as you're ready to, like, smash your speakers, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. This has got that cool, you know, kind of 80s funk, you know? So I don't know. Boris said if he would take a World War II bolt gun, Mauser 98K with a straight bolt. Yeah, I'm a big Mauser fan, period, including the Mauser 98K. You know, the straight bolt is cumbersome with a scope, right? But in all honesty, I think it's easier to operate a straight bolt rather than a curved bolt. I'm sorry, I think I said that backwards. Curved bolt's nice for a scope, but other than that, I think it's easier just to grab onto that straight bolt and, you know, run the action. I think, see, I'm always at my shop, and I know I say the same thing every stream, but most of my guns are not here. They're either my other shop or they're just in other locations, we'll say. But this one has a bat bolt, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, this Mauser that I have right behind me's got a bat bolt, which is okay. I'll shoot all of them. Rico Patriots out of here. All right, see you later. At least I know you guys are friends in real life, and this isn't really you know, big deal or whatever. Hopefully. Let's see here. I'm not really a fan of any of the tactical AK triggers, but yeah, the CMC for 2 1/4. I've actually heard it's worth it, but I don't own one. Let's just say that. Am I an FFL? No, I'm not an FFL. Nope, I'm good friends with an FFL though holder. So I was just there today picking up that Century AK-63 DS, $550. I like it. I really do. Century's done a little bit better job lately, a lot better job, I should say, of putting their parts kits guns together. I won't buy any of their crap trunnion rifles though. So don't think I'm really like giving Century guns props. It's just this Hungarian kit build's pretty nice. I really love the furniture thing going on. Do you guys kind of like this look? I mean, from what I've seen in a lot of publications, this kind of looks like, you know, what you'd see in the battlefield. I hate to say it, but you see all kinds of a mixed match, new part with an old part, and I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. All right, 6.4 is loving it, and so is Zeke. Thanks, guys. I know Warsaw hates it. He only wants the Polish rail system. Not rail system, but Polish furniture, I should say. Francis, anyone going to buy the Franklin Armory AK binary? I think that's good. I think that's banned by this new far-reaching overreach that our bureaucracy is performing. Let's just put it that way. Otherwise known as the bump stock ban. You guys will have to check and see, but I think that's banned. I hope it's not, though. I hope it's not, but I'm not sure if that's going to be, quote, allowed for the peasants to own soon. Hungarians are amongst my favorites. Mike J likes it. That's cool. Put some tacky tape on it. Yeah, you know, I kind of like the taped up look once in a while. It's just right now I'm really liking I really like this tiger striping in this wood here. There's just something about it. It reminds me of like a really nice like Gibson guitar. You know what I mean? I've got a few nice musical instruments, and you can't see it with the camera, but like when you look at this tiger striping, like in real life, it has that hologram look to it, if you know what I'm talking about. It literally kind of looks like a hologram in there. It's just got that really deep burling and tiger striping. So I'm kind of just enjoying the wood right now. Yeah. With Zeke's one that said it almost looks like curly maple. That's exactly what I'm saying. When I was thinking of a Gibson guitar, you can pay for an upgrade for what they call the curly maple. And that's exactly what this looks like. Let's see here. Visca uses high-tech wax barrel pens. Even though the funny thing is, the only thing they did right on the Visca was the barrel pen. Because the fact that they were able to tap it out with a hammer and not use a press, that tells me that they drove the barrel pen in straight and actually didn't gall it. Like that James River, Factory 66 Chinese, there's no way you're going to get that out with just a simple tap of a hammer, because it was put in so sideways. It had that galling where you could cut your finger on it if you guys were part of that stream. And the only one thing I'm going to actually give the Visca credit for right now was the proper movement of the barrel pen, because you do not typically have to use a 60-ton press, and when you're removing it, it's not supposed to always pop. So I just have to say that. I just have to, because there's a lot of misinformation about this barrel pen going around right now too. Yeah, Boris, it's not quite orange enough for the chew wood, but it's got that. I think Zeke's right. It looks like curly maple. When I get these guns in, guys, I just have like archives. Like I go into the shelves and there's the bins, and I just start like, I find like the furniture shelf system, and then I go down the shelves and I pull the bins and I just kind of like go through. So sometimes I like to get a little creative, and I don't know, whatever. The guys talking about the barrel pen are panda bears. Yeah, that's being polite about it, but yeah. AK hipsters eat that crap up. It's true. Like, you can literally go to the Zeke Shoots channel if he has them on full 30, formerly on YouTube, but he had to remove them because of the policies, and watch him tapping the barrel pen out with a very lightweight hammer. And again, I'm not trying to bring Zeke into this. I'm just using him as a works cited. Like, that's my reference material. If you think I'm lying, Zeke has videos out there that show him doing it. So, just as a reference point. Let's see here. Okay, Mike J has a Legion Arms jig kit that's on its way. You're going to make a blog about it to see if it's up to spec. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, let us know how that worked, actually. I'd be interested to find out. Let's see here. Warsaw Patriot says, thinly reason I want one tactical modern AK build is because of 5.4 preppers, 5.45 preppers builds. Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Warsaw loves his AKs. It's because of the 5.45 prepper and Zeke's tactical Riley. Mr. FNH in the house. How's it going, man? I had a great Thanksgiving with the family. I had a lot to eat last night. I just had a nice plate of leftovers today. I was on Zeke's stream well into the morning, still eating leftovers. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. Okay, look, guys, I was just going to come on for a minute, but you guys are kind of pretty active in here. And so what I'm going to do just real quick is go out and watch this video for 2 minutes because I kind of want to watch it. And then I'll come back in for a few minutes. So if you guys continue to chat, I'll catch up on it in a second here. So. All right. Anyone still here? Okay, yeah, I just caught up on that anime video. That's actually pretty cool. Are you guys all familiar with it? The one Francis was talking about? It's basically where there's like these kids in the school, you know, and they're all like different, go by different gun names. I thought it was pretty cool. Where I stopped watching it was like 6 minutes, and they're like, "Hi G3, hi PTR." I thought it was kind of funny, actually. But yeah, that would be badass if we had a school where like kids could actually go in there and actually learn how to shoot the guns. That'd be awesome. So I'm actually, yeah, Francis, I'm gonna keep watching later. I don't know, is there gonna be something like rhetorical at the end? Because as I'm watching it right now, it's actually like pretty pro gun, and I think kind of cool because like maybe some of this current, like as we call millennials, or maybe some of these hipsters that are out nowadays, maybe they watch that and be able to relate. So I hope there's nothing at the end where like really it's anti-gun, but it looks kind of pro-gun to me. And if I miss the whole boat on it, then I guess I'm an idiot. Let's see what we got here. 6.4 Hemi's talking about the AK-63D. The mill version's cool too as a shooter, but if you jump on one of these AK-63DSs that are still available, those are more correct, if you will. Because I don't know if you caught me earlier, but the Hungarians never made a milled folder like that. So, but yeah, I never knew there was any of that Japanese anime that had that was like pro gun actually. Because I thought in Japan, which I assume that's where this anime all comes from. I don't know, but I'm not really into it. But anyways, Japan's kind of like pretty anti-gun. Let's see here. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. Oh, recoil RSP, I think is recoil sensitive patriot. Could be a chick. It could be actually. Most girls are into trap shooting and not AKs, unfortunately. I know the AK be like the perfect gun for a girl to shoot too, because the recoil is really not that bad, especially if you're talking a 74 variant. There's like no recoil on it. It's almost like shooting a 22 long rifle, but just with a little more bark to it. But the recoil is really about the same. Yeah, again, I'm just reading 6.4 Hemi again. Yeah, that AK-63D, guys, is it's kind of a decent gun for 550 bucks. Atlantic charges $30 shipping, which is high-ish, but I guess it's okay. So like $580 out the door to your gun shop. Let's see here what you guys are talking about. Oh, you're talking about what you could do with you can put a Circle 11 on the bottom of the receiver, but really that's like on the trunnions where they normally do that. But yeah, you can do whatever you want. So yeah, so I guess there's a lot of Japanese videos that show guns, and they have some cool blank firing guns too. Yeah, so the Japanese people might be more pro gun. It's just their government isn't exactly pro gun, from what I understand. Let's see. The real reason, Warsaw says the real reason I'm doing a tactical build is because my AKMS is my personal trophy. I don't want to damage. Okay. But like, and then that's fine. Again, I don't care. But you're not going to really damage this either, though, right? I mean, you could damage it all you want, but at the end of the day, making it quote tactical, that makes it to your liking, which is a great reason. You might like to put accessories. There's good reasons to use lights in a lot of circumstances. I get that. There's good reasons for all these different accessories, but I don't think making it tactical makes it like more reliable. I could actually argue to the contrary of that. I think keeping it in its simplest form makes it more reliable. But at the same time, I don't want to go as far as to say making a tactical version makes it like tougher, because I just don't think that's quite the case. But with that said, what you want. like I said, that's cool. A flashlight's nice. Like I said, it just depends. We could go on for hours, and there's people a lot smarter than me that have actually done, spec out missions and real tours of duty and stuff, which I haven't, that could explain scenarios where a light would be the worst thing you'd ever want. And other scenarios, it'd be the best thing you'd want. So, and then that's what makes this fun. Everyone's going to have their own specification they want for their gun. Let's see here. I'm just kind of going back here, checking out what you guys were talking about. Mateo said something about bad trigger control and anticipating recoil. Yeah, see, that's what a lot of people do when they're like a newer shooter, or maybe they're just not real familiar with the gun yet. They get ready for that recoil, so they're like getting ready for it to knock them back. So instead of just standing straight and tall, which is one perfectly fine way to shoot, or maybe even just leaning forward a little bit to get your center of gravity to counteract the recoil, a lot of people already know it's going to want to push back, so they start off lean back, and before you know it, they end up, like we've all seen those towel heads do, where they're shooting the AK and they're like, yeah. Right, so yeah. As far as a flinch goes, you shouldn't like pull the rifle when you're pulling the trigger. You got to get to know your trigger. So with this particular one, I've just been messing with it here for a little bit. You can feel it go back, a little creep, and then you feel a wall right there, and then just slightly pull with even pressure. It's not really a matter of like, you're not pulling the trigger. You just feel that wall, just follow through, and it should almost surprise you when it goes off. When I say surprise you, I don't mean like surprise you in a way that, the gun hits you in the face. If you have the proper hold on the gun, if you have it properly shouldered, if your cheek has the proper weld where it should be for, to see down your sights, when it surprises you and goes off, it's not going to like hurt you or do anything. And I see a lot of like newer shooters, they're all worried about like they're going to get hurt. Well, if you start back and if you start, and start just with the proper stance. And I don't want to emphasize the word stance because I think people say too much, like you have to have the stance. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you get yourself in this position, okay, let's just say hypothetically, right? Yeah, you better be ready to brace. You're going to be talking like 10 grand worth of cosmetic, dental surgery. I mean, with this underfolder, okay? But if you've shouldered it, I always start off shoulder, and then I come in, find my sights. This cheek weld, all the recoil is going to the back. So when people do all these funny things to anticipate, I don't understand. If you've got literally like above 12-year-old strength and you've got that nice in your shoulder, right? Now, where I shoulder this gun is going to be a little different than a fixed stock. And of course, these aren't the most comfortable platform to shoot. I mean, maybe for some people they are, but you know what I'm saying. I can find a cheek weld that's just fine, and it's not going to hurt me because where my cheek is here, it's just not going to do anything. There's no pressure. I'm not using my cheek to like put tons of pressure on. All I'm simply doing is putting in the crotch of my shoulder, and I'm putting my cheek just up where I need to so I can see. And with this case, it ends up being more of a chin weld, to be honest. If the stock has a higher comb, it's going to be more of a cheek weld. But to get this gun into my shoulder, it's actually in the bottom, right where my jawbone is. So, and I know for most of you guys, this is like 101. I totally get it. Just cheap chatting amongst yourselves. I'm just, my kick I'm on right now is just kind of bringing some of this stuff again. The title of the chat, back to the basics. This doesn't have to be that complicated, And I don't care either. This is just my opinion. I don't care if you do the classic, World War I, World War II stance where you're perfectly square and your back's 100% straight. You can shoot like that too. If you want to lean forward a little bit, that's fine too. Leaning back, I don't know. Let's see what you guys are saying here. FNH, not a problem. Oh, he says, I'll lean back, throw the rock away. Bad rap song. Yeah. There was a song like that that said lean back, something, you know, I forget the words, but yeah. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I did see that. Francis, has anyone seen the video on YouTube where a white guy was acting like a gangster with an AK and shoots in the house? I did actually see that. I did see that. Oh, and you know what? They have different. Hemi brings up a good point. Underflows are brutal, but the Chinese with the 45-degree angle seems to be more forgiving. I'm going to show you guys something about that. Actually, it's not just the Chinese. Give me 1 second. I have another folder here that'll prove your point. All right. This is the Romy Model 65. I'm going to try to get both of these in frame at once. My finger still hurts a little bit, guys. It doesn't look like much, but it got like impaled really bad about a week and a half ago, and there's still nerve damage and blood vessels trying to repair themselves. Like, even though the cut was here, the entry, it went all the way down, you know, about 3/8 of an inch. So underneath this soft pad on my finger, there's still some damage trying to heal. So I kind of got to do this favor in this finger because I really need this to heal up properly so I can use this hand good again. Okay, so we got the 63 down here. Let me get this back in frame, and then the Romy. You can instantly see how it's got that angle on the Romanian. It's pretty drastic and obvious, and it does make a big difference as far as, you know, the way that you shoot it. This is kind of like the original platform, right? Where basically you got the engagement of the locking on this Romanian just on the one side, where the Hungarian is actually locking on both sides. So one could argue that this is a stronger lockup mechanism, and in theory it is, but at the same time, I've not had a problem with this older, like first gen AKMS, if you will, design. Even though only the one side locks up, it's still just locking on. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm trying to show pictures of these one at a time. It shows how the mechanism actually works, as opposed to the Hungarian. You're going to see it has these wings that stick out, and there's also two detents on this side too. So this is going to lock up on both sides of the receiver. But like I always do, I'm getting way off topic. Now this with just a little bit of an angle on it. It's probably not 45 degrees. It's probably like 30 degrees, 25, 30 degrees. Now that makes it where now everything's changed. It's a little more comfortable. The only thing it does though is it actually brings my cheek wheel, or cheek weld, if you want to call it that, down even lower. Where now it's basically where my chin's just kind of barely touching. But for some reason, it just seems to have a little more comfortable feel in my shoulder. So this is a preference thing, guys. If every one of you shot both of these back to back, I bet you half of you is going to like the one, half's going to like the other, and probably 90% of you is going to like a fixed stock. So I know you guys kind of like the Gorn, as people call it, right? Like the gun porn. So let me go put this back. And since we're talking about the AK-63D, which is the most common variant of the Hungarian stamped, I'm going to show you one of the little more rare models that I have right over here in the other room. I guess like its brother, if you will. I'm gonna grab this other mag just so I have a mag to put in the gun. I hate the look of an AK without a mag in it, you know. All right, so this is my Hungarian AK-63F. So this is basically the same gun as the AK-63D. This one's not a Century offering. This is a custom built. This has a Childers receiver on it. Century never got their hands on these. Not too many AK-63F parts kits in the country. They just didn't make them as long, and for some reason the Hungarians, which still use these AKs by the way, they held on to these a little more. But yeah, this is the AK-63F. It's actually substantially lighter weight than the AK-63D. This stock is much lighter than the underfolding stock, and there's less mechanism, if you will, right? Like a regular AKM trunnion's way lighter than an underfolder trunnion. This one's pretty cool. It has the correct selector markings, the infinity symbol for full auto, and then the 1. I always like that. Whereas the Century is just going to have the S and the F, unfortunately. This actually has the selector markings too for the auto and the semi-auto. Now this gun here is actually a very comfortable gun to shoot. Really, really lightweight. You know, just standard AKM really, but it's nice. Now there's even another variant that's even more rare than this that I have to put it in the case. I want to do a Hungarian video here soon. So this is the AK-63F. The other was the AK-63D. And then there's another one related to these called the AKM-63. And that's kind of like half AKM and half Hungarian AMD-65. So if you guys are familiar with that, you know what I mean. If not, look it up. It's called the AKM-63. Zeke has a nice AKM-63 actually, with the wood stock on it. Wood lower handguard. The upper is going to be like just a naked gas tube, like an AMD-65, and then the wood grip. Now my AKM-65 is pretty cool because it's got like this ultra rare so-called blue furniture that the Hungarians experimented with for a little bit. If you Google blue AKM-63, you might see 1 or 2 pictures of it online, but that's about it. But yeah, so that's closer to being like the unicorn of the Hungarian AKMs. This is considered to be rather uncommon in this country. And this one, by the way, is all match and kit too. That's what I like about this gun. Every little thing matches. Dust cover, even the selector's numbered, bolt and carrier, obviously, trunnion. So I'm kind of proud of this one, to be honest, guys. There's a little bit of an area in the bottom that I have to touch up with some cold blue, where when this kit was being demilled, the torch just got a teeny bit into the torch got a little bit into the mag catch, guys, but it still functions perfectly fine. And I just took a little file and kind of smoothed it up. But if you look at this mag catch, I don't know if my camera's going to get the right angle on it. You can see there's kind of a little U shape taken out of it. That's because when they cut these up, they try to preserve that part. But once in a while, when they're cutting through the receiver, just a little bit of that plasma cutter hits there. But it's all good. I've got it where it's working just fine. Everything else on the gun looks beautiful. I just need to literally touch this up a little bit here with some cold blue or a touch of paint just to get it to match up. But yeah, it's not a problem. Let's see where you guys are at here. Yeah, FNH has underfolding Gorn. There's just something about the underfolders, man. They're sexy. They might not be the greatest thing to shoot, but they're just cool. Oh, FNH. Yeah, I didn't get to join the Legally Armed America chat. By the way, guys, I'm a big fan of Paul Galasco. I like the Legally Armed America channel. I like what he does, and I like to join his live streams. Usually I end up having to watch him as a rerun. But yeah, this Eamon guy, thanks for giving me an update. So he was just about stirring the pot. Okay. See, I tried to give him a chance because I was like, you know what? We can let the opposing view in here. But if he ended up just being a troll the whole time, then whatever. I didn't know what his deal was. Stirring the pot can be okay. I don't know. I don't know if he was. If you're saying he was just a complete faker, or if he was just. But yeah, I'll be watching it later on. I'll check it out and see what you're saying. Like if he was really like a like there's actually guys, by the way, that are like pro gun dudes that actually get in there and pretend to be anti-gun too. That's another thing that happens. But Mateo does bring up a good point right after that. He says, it's a good thing echo chambers can be dangerous. That's another point. I mean, when he was going off the night I was in there, FNH, I will say, as annoying as it was kind of cool because it brought out the best in Paul and a bunch of the other viewers, where people were coming back with some actual really good comebacks. It was making people's minds work again and remember like why we have to keep like fighting these types off. So I think that's what Mateo's getting at, and for that part of it, it can be a good thing. Francis says, how much did I pay for the AK-63F? Well, instead of saying what I paid for it, I haven't seen any parts kits available for any less than about $800 or $900, to be honest, and that's just for the parts kit. So this is an original barrel, by the way. This was an original barrel parts kit. So this is the original chrome line, chrome hammer forged Hungarian barrel. That adds quite a bit to the value of the gun, because not only do you need to buy a new barrel, you don't need to buy a new barrel, but it even adds more than that because it has its historical accuracy of being basically about as original of a gun as you can have here, since we always have to change the receiver out, obviously. I'd probably value this gun, believe it or not, and this might sound a little high to you guys, but I'd probably value this gun at about $1,200 or $1,300 because it's in really good shape, everything matches, and it's an original barrel kit. And go look it up, guys. You don't see them very much, but if you do find one, they're pretty cool. Let's see what you guys are saying here. Mateo said, don't give it away. Yeah, I'm sorry. Some pro gun guys do come and just have some fun. Oh, he's a professional troll and he's from England. See, that's where I'm going to lose respect for him. Because if he was in the United States of America, I'm going to respect his free speech a lot more than if he's in another country, because England doesn't have the right to free speech in our country like we do. And they certainly don't have free speech in their own country. So actually, without dwelling on it too much, because I don't want to bore the rest of you, most of you probably haven't, don't know the stream we're talking about, but just the fact that it comes out that he's from England really does change a lot for me. If he really is, like, who knows what you can even believe, right? Yeah, coming back with a bunch of different names. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying, FNH? Just the fact that he's not an American citizen changes a lot. And to tell me if you agree. Warsaw, what do you think? What if he was from Poland? Does that, you know, do we cut him more slack then? Or I don't care if he's from Poland or where he's at. He technically has free speech, guys, and we all know that. But the fact that he's a foreigner, I don't know, man. Someone else put it into better words than me. It's just, it makes it totally different. It just really does. Because we go in their fucking country and start talking shit. So look out. Get arrested for saying the stuff we say over in England, right? Oh, Warsaw says give him some space if he's from Poland. Well, yeah, of course. Let's see what else we got here. Francis said I'd pay that for it. Yeah, you know, that's what these are worth. Some of these guns are worth what you want to pay for them, because there's not like quote a going rate. Like you type in AK-63F, you won't find it on the primary market at all. If you find it on GunBroker, it just depends on how many particular fans of this model are bidding that day. You could have a gun like this go for a set price one day, double or triple that another day, just because there's some guys that are really fighting hard. So you guys know how this goes. It gets tough once in a while. Let's see here. Okay, Mateo, he's trying to clear this up. Okay, free speech aside, a foreigner has little right to comment about what we do here. At least that's my stance. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to say. FNH is saying, what do I think of the 1911 Bully series Paul is doing? I love it. I would love to see all guns get bullied by that guy. Average guns, not collectible ones. Yeah, man, I do think it's pretty cool because I'll tell you in real life, I have a buddy, my friend I always tell you about that owns the local gun shop. His brother, who helps him out there and works there, he bought one of their 9mm 1911s, Rock Island Armory, and he's had it for years. And it's just a good, honest working man's gun, man. It doesn't cost much money, but I'm going to say, of course, I have some patriotism, and it kind of sucks in a way they're made in the Philippines, but whatever. Look at what I'm holding here, right? So I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth. They're a foreign gun, but at the same time, I do believe the Rock Island 1911s are honest guns. Paul Legally Armed America, I've given him shout-outs before. Not that he needs my help, right? But go check his channel out, guys. He's a pretty solid dude. And he even did a video day before yesterday about like safety in a parking lot. Like, this is good stuff to show your wife and girlfriend or your mom even. This guy, I think, actually doesn't just talk about guns, but Paul seems to actually go through and, is worried about our safety and our rights and stuff too. So I think FNH and Warsaw, I've seen those guys in there quite a bit, would agree he's a pretty solid dude. And yes, FNH, I do really like the bully test he's doing. I thought it was pretty cool how he had that Chick-fil-A sauce that was really starting to wreak havoc on the 45, where he'd shoot it and then he had to just like push it that last quarter-inch in the battery, and then by freezing them, it actually helped wash it off again. So that's kind of pretty cool. Let's see here. FNH, I like talking to him until everyone gets all mad. You've seen the chats turn ugly, no fun. Yeah. He's the type to blanket statement, say ARs and AKs only for murder, just rude. Yeah. Yeah. And I enjoy their speech, and like I think you agree too, right, FNH, that like it did bring out some of the best of people. So Mateo's right there. But enough's enough. We're actually in there to hang out as friends, and we like to listen to what Paul has to say. And if this guy's trying to literally hijack and take over Paul's stream, and he's not even from this country, it starts changing a lot. Let's see here. Philippines. Somebody said this. Who said that? Philippines. Francis said Philippines was part of the U.S. at one point, so the 1911s are okay. I know. Wouldn't that be great someday when we can say California was once part of the United States? I digress. There might be some good people in here from Cali, but probably not. Militias are growing in Poland. The Czech Republic's trying to be like what Poland is now. That's good, man. I want those people to get their rights back. There's still people, and those people love their kids as much as we do, and they have every right to defend their family. So I would support any country allowing the peasants and common people to be able to protect themselves. Mateo says RIAs are solid guns. People have knocked them are just gun snobs. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's just say, see if you guys agree with me. The 1911 is a working man's gun, and the Rock Island Armory is like your blue collar working man's gun. Something a guy can go snag up for $400, $500, $600 depending on the variant, and have some fun, right? Okay, Mr. FNH had a GI model RIA. It was a turd, but that was a decade ago. People say it's a whole new company. I may get a mid to higher grade RIA 9mm, 45 ACP or 10. That's good to know. And it's good that you're being open-minded enough to know that maybe they've gotten their shit together, right? So that's cool. Mateo would buy one without a single reservation. Okay. Let's see here. California can sink to the deepest part of the ocean, becoming to Atlantis. Yeah, man, there's some good people in there, but like the state itself, just to hell with them, Not necessarily every person, because I do, man. I like most people, but man, in California, not too many. Okay, let's see here. Heck yeah, I did. Once he's talking about this troll again. Once it ruins everything, I see the other mods just start banning stuff. Jay Griff has a gun shop I hear. Proud to mod for Paul's channel. See, it's a fine line between bringing out the best in people, and it did bring out the best in Paul. You remember that, right? FNH and Warsaw. Paul was just cutting that guy down from the knees every 2 seconds. That was cool. But then after a while, it takes over the whole stream where now it's like the Muslim Eamon stream and whatever. Like nobody really wants to watch that. It's yeah. Let's see here. Francis likes the Norincos. Yeah, man. The Norinco though. Yep. The Norinco is actually. Let me find a safe space for this gun. I got too many freaking guns around here, guys. There's no place to set anything down. No, I'm joking. There's only a few guns next to me. Most of this is all like supplies and tools and for my business. And, you know, other supplies too. You know what I mean? But let's see here. Yeah, the Norinco 1911. A lot of guys have actually taken those and modded them and used them as like their performance competition guns. That's no joke. Yeah, Bradstreet has some of the real Rock Island Arsenal products from the early 1900s that I found in 1916 dated, 1912 dated Currycomb, and 1904 dated Cavalry Spur. Yeah, Rock Island is a real place, just like Springfield Armory USA and Rock Island. It's the same thing. These are brand new companies that are not affiliated whatsoever with the old, you know, state arsenals, but these were real deal arsenals for a long time in this country. I know Springfield back from like the 1700s on up to like the 50s or 60s. And then like Rock Island, I'm not sure quite the years, but yeah, tons of Rock Island USGI stuff out there. Let's see here. Okay. So F&H didn't give them really a chance to fix it last time, but this time you would. And yeah, I got you. The 22 TCM, I've been interested in that one actually. It usually comes as a combo with the 22 TCM and the 9mm. I don't have one of those. A buddy of mine does, and that 22 TCM is kind of cool. Let's see here. Paul was dropping F-bombs tonight and talking about Fired Up. The guy had like 30 accounts. Wow. Thou shall never have enough guns. I agree. You can never have enough guns or ammo. Chinese are always making good guns, but not good toys, Warsaw said. Mostly good guns. Maybe not all, but yeah. Yeah, my camera, I mean, this is just a webcam. I think once in a while what happens is, if I just like bump the table a little bit, it didn't do it much that time. The focus just does like this weird thing. So hopefully that's done doing that. All right, 6'4" Hemi's out of here. Thanks for stopping in. I'm getting ready to get out myself, guys. It's been 2 hours. It's 1 in the morning here. I didn't know this many guys would be up late. I just thought, well, I'll get on there and talk about these triggers for a minute. And didn't even really talk about triggers as much as I was gonna, but it's all good. You know, you get on here and do one of these chats like by yourself, where I have no callers. I have no software to be able to show all the cool stuff like other guys do. And I think to myself, man, I got to talk the whole time. Like, what if I run out of stuff to talk about? And it's weird. I just never run out of stuff to talk about. So I'm going to catch up on the comments real quick here, and then I'm going to be heading off, guys. Mateo says it's a great cartridge. He's had a 22 TCM for years, but now the 65 grain 357 SIG has replaced it for the uber fun pistol cartridge. Okay. I'm not real familiar with that light of a grain. That must be like a little bottleneck round. Let's see here. F&H had a small red Toyota. He was a child. Yeah. Never up late anymore. Yeah, well, I guess tonight you are. Never say never, right? All right, yeah, if you guys have any good ideas of what you want me to talk about next time, throw it out there in the chat here. I'm going to be getting off pretty soon. Somebody earlier said they liked this mill gun. I don't even know if they're here anymore, but we can talk about this a little more next time. This Yugo M64 is always fun to talk about. I'm a big fan of the Yugos, period, really. They're just interesting, just a little bit different. Again, as much as I like to talk about these fancy AKs, and I really like them, I just want to remind you guys one more time, if anyone's coming in late, this is an honest gun, guys. And this is the Century AK-63 DS. Atlantic has them right now for $550. And yeah, man, I mean, my particular build. Now, your results could vary, okay? But this one's honest. I mean, I haven't shot it yet, so let me, in full disclosure, I just got it literally today. But I've been around enough of these to know I think we're pretty much good to go here, you know? So this is good for a guy on a budget. I hate to say this, but $550 nowadays is a budget AK. Remember, if anyone's new coming in here, this is all Hungarian parts where it matters. It's just got a U.S. barrel, partially U.S. trigger group, and the U.S. receiver. So this is what you call a parts kit build. And I like that it's Parkerized because I'm going to be spray painting it black soon. Let's see here. We can talk about the AKs used in Serbia, which I think that's what I mean when I say the Yugos, right? Yugoslavia would encompass Serbia, per se. Serbians may have used them from other countries too, but Zastava, Yugoslavia, now Serbia, that kind of says it best there, right? Mosin stream, man, I could talk about Mosins forever. Gosh, I've got so many freaking Mosins, guys. That'd be interesting. I don't have a lot of Mosins here, really, though. I've got a Remington Mosin right behind us here. I don't know if I can bring it into the. There's a little bit of it. It's hanging right now from the hook here, but I've got an old Remington Mosin sitting here at the moment. Chinese Type 53, but yeah, I like the Mosins. Let's see here. Talk about the Chinese SKS variations. Man, I could really talk about those too, because there are some variants and some markings, and man, I'm just a big fan of the SKS too. So good ideas, guys. Mr. FNH, man, sorry to hear about your dog. Hopefully the dog's okay and gonna be okay. That sucks. Yeah, man, that sucks when you got to work for weeks. But I guess at a certain point, it's only money. You know, if it's someone's animal they love, I guess again, it's only money. But yeah, I'm not trying to say like only $550. Like this isn't hard-earned money. I just mean like so many people are into the AK now that like only $550 is actually like an entry-level AK, and it really sucks. Okay, yeah, Mosin video. PLO AKs. I have some PLO kits. Yep. I kind of collect kits too, guys. And a lot of them I just like to keep them as kits. And Zeke's commented on this before too when we've been on together. I hate to say it, but sometimes like the kit is so valuable and rare, it's a shame to build it because it'll actually be worth less if you build it than if you keep it as a kit. And these guns are kind of investments for me. And I just think kits are interesting in and of themselves. Even though they're cut up, I get it. They're not a functional gun. But just having the original stubs on there of the receiver, you can still see a lot of the arsenal markings there. It kind of almost makes it more original for me, even though it's not a gun, than turning it into a gun, kind of. But at the same time, I build a lot of kits too, so, you know, it's kind of one of those weird things. Let's see what else we were seeing. I'm going to scroll up for a minute. Oh, Mr. FNH, thanks, man. He said I have a beautiful collection. This is my main thing, guys. I'm not rich. I probably don't drive as nice of a vehicle as most of y'all. I don't have a big, huge, fancy house. This is like my thing. So when I'm showing you these cool guns, I'm just trying to talk about them. I want to hear about your guns in the comments. Don't for once think, though, I'm one of those dudes that just, like, rolls out there and, you know, has, like, a trust fund or nothing like that. Trust me. I've been at this a long time. I bought a lot of these guns when they were pennies on the dollar compared to what they cost now. And yeah, this is just my thing, you know. But yeah, okay, Mosins, SKSs, no argument from me, man. I love those. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, Warsaw saying in some videos he's seen the Serbians using East German AKs. Well, the East Germans made several AKs that were only for export too. So you'll see some East German AKs around the world. Oh, I like my MP-IKM. It's a nice gun. That's the problem. Like FNH is saying, you know, you spend all this money and you still don't know the future. But at least you can say you tried. He says 550 sounds like a steal for that rifle. If you got the money, honey, we got your disease. This shit is a disease, though. Like, oh man. But still, though, these are the last of these guys too. And I hate to say this, but I get nothing from Atlantic at all. I'm just telling you, it happens to be the only place that has them, and Century doesn't make these anymore. So I'm not saying you have to buy one today, but I wouldn't expect for these AK-63 DSs from Century to be floating around at 550 years from now. Especially, luckily for us, a lot of the hipsters don't know about Atlantic yet. If it was on another popular site where the guy sweats too much in his videos, for this price, they would have already sold out. Trust me. I got a weird SKS Chinese variant here, actually. I'm not going to ramble about this, but there's an SKS, different than a lot of you have probably seen. This is a Sporter. This is a pretty nice example here. This is, well, pretty much new old stock, I'll say. And it takes AK mags. So, yeah. Now, my real favorite one that takes AK mags is my pre-band, like meaning pre-89 band, SKSD, Navy Arms. The Navy Arms is a lot cooler than this one, but at the same time, this gun's pretty cool. And the thumb hole stock's actually comfortable. I mean, this gun's way more comfortable than, I hate to say this, but I'll just say it now. This is more comfortable than the AK, even the fixed stock AK. I don't care what anyone says. SKS is a very, very comfortable gun to shoot. And this takes AK mags from the factory, Warsaw. This is not one of those duckbill, you know, SKS mags. This is literally a real deal AK mag. And it's a little different, though. See, there we go. I missed it the first time. It's a little different manual of arms, but at the end of the day, yeah. This is the same mag I just got done putting in both of those Hungarian AKs. This goes by names such as SKSM, SKSD, Sporter, Cowboy's Companion, Farmer's Friend, Paratrooper. There's a lot of names for these. But yeah, there's some knurling in the wood. This kind of looks rubberized, but actually all it is they just cut out the wood, put some knurling in it, and painted it black. It's actually comfortable, though. I swear to God. Very comfortable. As much as I talk about the AK, the SKS might be my favorite gun. I say might because it's hard, but SKS isn't, not necessarily this exact one, but the whole SKS family, I think might be my favorite still. Here's one more member of the Hungarian family. AMD 65. I've talked about this before. This is this TGI that somehow they were able to get these into the country, where this gun's literally like pretty much all Hungarian, if you know what I'm saying. And it like somehow magically made its way into the country, if you know what I mean. This is a real so-called tanker mag right here, the 20 round. There's no way my camera's going to pick it up, but it's got the 02 stampings on the spine and the little man on the moon. Huh? You can kind of see the two there. But yeah, these are some really cool mags too. Tell the NRA. Oh man, Francis, don't get me started on them. There's a lot I'd like to tell the NRA, trust me, but we don't have like till tomorrow at 2 in the morning to talk to them. Mateo would like to see the SKS get revived. So would I, except for there's a ban on the Chinese ones. There's a ban on the Russian ones. Has been for many years. And then the Yugos were the latest ones to trickle in. But they're a little different than a regular SKS. And they're still great. And I like them a lot. But I don't know. It just sucks. But yes, I agree with you. Let's see here. F&H is having some problems at work. That sucks. Yeah. Let's see here. Anything else, guys? Oh, guns, motorcycles, and cars are an addiction. Yeah. Oh, wait, Warsaw likes the SKS. Yeah. Yep, Bradford has the SKS-M. Yep, that's one of the ones I was talking about. Norinco's still imported. Yep, only shotguns, but they go by a different name. They don't use Norinco for that. Let's see here. Yeah, Mateo, I get what you're saying. If a quality and reputable company started to manufacture them, if they could. But people bitch because they'd say, well, I only paid $100 for my Chinese back in 1989. So people bitch about the price they'd have to pay. But it's a good platform. It really is. All right, Warsaw's going to bed. I need to go to bed. So I'm going to say goodnight to you guys. And maybe we should just do a whole Hungarian stream at one time, too. I should bring the AKM 63 out. And we should talk about the Mosin. And there's a lot of stuff we can talk about, guys. So as long as you guys don't boo me off of here, we'll just keep going once or twice a week. And I doubt we'll ever talk about everything, but I really like reading the comments. You guys teach me a lot. Good stories. I just learned about Japanese anime tonight, for God's sakes. Never thought I'd say that, but hey. It wasn't a bad video, though. Thanks for telling me, Francis. I'll finish watching it a little bit. Yep, I was up way too late last night, too. Me and Mateo were on late last night in Zeke's stream. So I'm going to say goodnight, guys. Nice seeing all of you. I'm going to have some more short videos coming out. I'm kind of going to that like basic AK knowledge stuff. Again, if it's below you guys, I don't mean it to be that way. But if you want to watch it, go ahead. Maybe tell some of your friends getting into it. I'm just going to do, just a few basic things to help some of the new guys get off on the right track. And then I'm also going to start diving into some videos on some really rare stuff too. So I'm going to kind of hit both ends of the spectrum. So I'll talk to you guys later. Good night, and we'll see you again soon. Have a good one.